I'm doing today is installing this dash cam installation kit. Because what I got this dash cam right up here, but this whole time it's only been going into the cigarette lighter, and this is becoming a mess. And when I get this ham radio in here, it's gonna I can't have this like this anymore. And so what this does is it goes into your fuse box. You come down here, and they have directions, but I thought I would just show what I was doing. So here's the fuse box is probably somewhere around here. This is a 2014 Subaru Outback. So they say you want a fuse that is not always hot. So some of these fuses are always hot for the battery, and some are not. And you can basically tell, I've got a multimeter here we'll use. You can basically tell, especially for things like the power windows and stuff, they don't work when the key's not in the ignition. Normally, you'll have a little fuse box here, and if the labels aren't clear, then you can consult the owner's manual or go online. But the one I was considering using, because again, this is the family car, so I gotta be careful. I'm not gonna get my wife and son stranded from these shenanigans I'm doing off somewhere where I'm not. So, passenger window, power window passenger, sounds like a good one. I like it because so look at this thing. What you're gonna do is we gotta plug that in. This is the fuse for the dash cam, and then this empty fuse, you're gonna put whatever fuse you take out and put it in there. And so I like this one because there's nothing else around it, and so plenty easy to get to. And the other thing is the power window passenger is pretty not critical. So let's this is going to be hard to do one-handed. Gosh, hold on. Not ideal, but you can see I've got one probe on the fuse and one probe on a ground, a bolt. You don't want a bolt that's painted. We can see we're at 0 volts. Alright, the car is now in an accessory mode. You can see I'm still here, and we're now reading 12 volts. Okay, so great. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we got to find the fuse puller. And that could be anywhere. It's probably usually in the other set of fuses, which for me is right here. So you open this up, there are a bunch more fuses. Probably shouldn't leave stuff on the battery. Here's a little fuse puller. So we're going to come back here because what I want to do, and the car is off again, what I want to do is verify that after I've pulled this, it is indeed the passenger window, because it's good to double check. So here it is, nice stuck on there, and I'm going to toss the key back into accessory, and you can see here is my side. The window still goes up and down, which is great, and here is nothing's happening. Okay, so as directed, I have put the fuse for the power window in the empty fuse slot here, and I've untangled this. This is a ground. We're going to have to figure that out. And let's remind ourselves it is the third from the left. Okay, it's in there nice and good. Just wrapped it up around here. And so the next thing we got to do is figure out where this ground is going to go. And then we got to zip tie this all up somewhere. Let's close this up nice and good. I should say the production value on these videos is going to be pretty bad. That's okay. I personally get some of my best information from really low quality videos. That's just the way of it. Even though this, for a lot of people, this is probably a super simple project, and I'm probably not even doing that good of a job of it, but, I thought I would show, even if you don't know what you're doing too much, as long as you're a little sensible and you take your time, you don't have to, you can make good improvements, I guess is what I'm saying. you basically just need a grounding bolt, and one that's not going to get in the way of everything, and one that you can reach. So I'm thinking this one up here, because we can zip tie everything real nice and good. I don't think we're going to be in the way of anything. I don't see any others super close by, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to try to video this. Here's the thing. I'm having a hard time getting either of those nuts off. I just don't have the right tools for this sort of very confined space. I was looking around and I found two things. I found that bolt to the left there that has no nut on it. And so I said, okay, I could just put the grounding pin and then put my own nut. And I also found this hole over here. What are they? Who can say? You know, now might be a good time to mention first, if I had a preference, I would say working on cars is not one of them. So I'm a scrum master, and so I'm big on time boxing things. And my time box today is when my son wakes up from his nap, which is getting very close. I looked around. I said I either need a nut over here or a bolt over here. So perhaps the only useful thing I'm going to say in this entire video is anytime you get any sort of hardware at all, keep it. If you are building a piece of furniture and it comes with some extra hardware, or if you're working on a project and you buy too much, keep it all, because you're going to need it for something. So that's probably the only useful thing I'm going to tell you all day here. So this, finally found something. This is actually a spare part to my son's crib, and it fits perfectly nice in this hole right up here. Now, the other reason to carry spares is I actually already assembled this once. I mentioned I do it twice. I did it once to make sure it would work, and then I took it apart and to show you, and I lost the bolt down here. So at this point in the video, if you've made it this far, you're probably saying to yourself, you know, I'm starting to really question this person's credentials. All right, so this got even more jankety. The bolt was fit thread and diameter wise, but it was a little too long, so I just spaced out with some washers, but it's finally in there. One thing I'll say, just, you know, on a slightly more serious note, is, you know, if this was a positive, a hot wire, we would not be playing around like this. You know, you do have to be careful with electricity. This is a ground wire. This whole chassis is ground, and so as long as you've grounded it, you know, we got a solid connection here. It's in there tight. I'm going to zip tie it so it's not in the way of anything. This is fine for grounds. Yeah, you might be saying, you know, how can I see everything up here? If you're looking at a similar car, this is probably all blocked off by a big piece of black plastic. I took it off. One problem I had is in these Outbacks, the heating for your feet is atrocious, which I don't quite understand because it's marketed for, you know, cold, snowy climates, but it's just on the 2014 at least, the air vent, it blows into the protective cover. So like, I stuck my hand up there, the air was literally just trapped up inside the protective cover. So I don't know what's with that. So I just took it down. So that's why I have so much more room to work. You know, you can take it off and then put it back on. So yeah, so let's, well, let me just say, so the next thing we're going to do is, next thing we're going to do is test it, I guess. So let's put our key in the ignition here and see if this starts up into ignition. And there we go. You see that here? Yeah, wonderful. And I take my key out of the ignition, and it says it's starting to power off. And this is what we want. You do not want, well, maybe you do, but I don't want this on a fuse that is always powered on or doesn't power on as soon as the car powers on. So now, before you start zip tying everything down, wherever you have this, I would start from up here, work your way down. We're going to thread it down here, varying degrees of professional-like, and then we'll zip tie all the extra up here. I woke up my son when I closed the hood, so that means the project's done. So, you know, I didn't get it quite as into this windshield well as I wanted, but it's not going to move or anything really, so it's good enough until I get to to fix it, and it's fine. I would say comes down here, goes into here just fine, and then I did zip tie this. I had all the extra wire. There's cables running here anyway, so I put it in there. That box, I had a convenient hole, zip tied it right up there, and then I just zip tied the ground to the this is the what is it, the OBD port, so you know, nowhere near the pedals, because I don't want anyone stepping on any wires. That's not good. So yeah, I don't know, give myself a C+. I set out what I accomplished, which was I wanted one fewer wires in the center. So this now, instead of going from here to up here, just goes right along. So I don't need you anymore. And yeah, so I guess what are the takeaways? I guess the main one is in the 10 years since I last posted a video, I haven't really improved production value or subject matter knowledge. So that's okay. All right. Goodbye. Oh, and by the way, the window still works, so that's a plus.